Good morning, sports fans. Welcome back to the JumpStart Sports Show. It's me, Jason Kopp. I'm here with Steven Victor Wembanyama Shoemaker. The first.
I wish I was 7'2".
He's 7'4". He's a big
Is
boy.
he? It says he's 7'2" on Google. Can't trust Google anymore.
Honestly, Wikipedia is a liar too. That's where I used Wikipedia for like all of my resources back in college.
Oh, that's a no now.
Yeah, I know. I didn't obviously. Well, anyway.
Yeah. Let's hope none of your teachers are watching this.
They're not.
No. No.
That's all right. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be back. We're very ill prepared. Or are we really prepared?
What was that? We're always prepared.
That was my panther scream.
Someone had their Wheaties this morning.
Not me.
Mini Wheaties?
Not I, but
Wheatie Hut Jr.?
Weenie Hut General. But there's been just a lot of news, a lot of strange news going on in the NFL. So before we recap this past week and all the drama that's happened, I say we just get into the big topics, starting off with
Tottenham.
Pretty much the guy who just can't get away from the NFL, even when he gets away from the NFL, if you get what I mean by that, and Mr. Antonio Brown.
Antonio.
Just was he in Dubai and he's just in a pool, like a public pool, just butt ass naked and throwing body parts left and right. And I just don't know how there's not going to be any like disciplinary action on that.
He should be arrested. And the fact that he's just like away with it.
Joe Burrow was on I forget what podcast it was, but he was on some podcast recently, or maybe it was just an interview, and he was discussing how CTE and just brain and head injuries are just a part of football. That's what comes with it, which is like playing hockey. You lose teeth. It's just part of what you sign up for. So concussions are just part of the game, but the level and magnitude of CTE in that man's brain, Mr. Brown, is just unbelievable.
He's going to be a scientific marvel. I mean,
and the crazy thing about it is he could still play in this league. He's like more than capable of playing
talented.
In this league. Yeah, he's so good.
He's so good, but he'll never get another chance. I mean, after that happened, it's just been a whirlwind, spiraling. But he tweeted, this is a direct quote from his Twitter. It's honestly hilarious. The situation's not hilarious, but the fact that he is. Anyway, he tweeted, "I'm telling every team that needs some offense to pick up AB," and use two spaces, I'm not realizing, because he's shown that he has the ability to expose the D.
The D. I've seen that as well. Both technically. But the thing about him that's crazy is some of the stuff he does, like he's such a scumbag. Like I wouldn't even want him on my team, which is such like a tough thing because it's like he's so good and he really is someone who can like change your team on the offensive end, but he just comes with too many problems, as we saw last year in his farewell exit at MetLife Stadium when they were playing the Jets. But he's just such a troublemaker. And the lowest thing that he did recently was when I don't know if you saw on his Instagram, when he posted a picture of him and Giselle, and it's just like leave family out of this, leave kids out of it. It's just really immature behavior. But the one thing which will kind of be a nice transition, not a nice transition, but a transition into talking about the whole Brady drama going on right now is the one thing is, as crazy as he is, and I don't have any respect for Antonio Brown, but did you see that post, or just like have you noticed in general that every problem that he's kind of brought up has actually like had truth to it?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Starting with Pittsburgh and Big Ben, and then talking about how much Juju sucks, which kind of has some truth to that. There's so many of them, but like Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians getting fired, and obviously now
a lot of like past receivers and players for Bruce Arians who came out and said they felt the same way.
Yeah. And now just to kind of top it all off, him making that Instagram post, and now there's just all these memes all over social media of Tom Brady picking football over his wife, which like there's obviously more to the story than that, but
it sure looks like that right now though.
Which like I'm not a Tom Brady fan at all, but at the same time, I don't know. I do feel bad in a way because it's like you're married to someone who you intend on spending the rest of your life with. You have 3 kids with this woman, and they obviously like when you date superstars and celebrities, it's hard to be, I feel like, the best parent that you want to be, just because he's traveling playing football, she's traveling for her modeling career. So her getting like, I don't know if she's like done modeling, but I don't know if it's necessarily fair for her to be like, it's either me or football, because obviously they want to be good parents. They want to settle in and be there for their 3 children, so Tom can kiss his kids on the lips some more. But I just feel like there's more to it, because I feel like that's pretty effed up for her to leave her husband just because he wanted to play football again. But
yeah, I
don't
think
know, what do you think about it?
it's honestly, I think it's just more so due to the fact that, like you said, like they're celebrities. Like Tom, more so than any other player, probably he's just one of the most popular players in NFL history. He's one of the most known players in NFL history, part to how he is the most winning player in NFL history.
7 out of 10.
But he's not even worth as much as his wife, who is
I know.
which is Giselle's worth like $200 million more than he is,
Yeah.
which is nuts because of how much success and fame that Tom Brady has had over the years.
Those kids are set.
Those kids are set. It's going to be kind of funny to see, not funny, but like interesting to see like what the settlement's like if that becomes public too.
Yeah.
But because like, is Tom going to try to take some of her money?
Yeah, like I said, I think there's more to it than we know about it.
Too.
A lot of it's behind closed doors. Maybe they just had a lot of relationship issues over the years. Who knows? But
I'm sure it's more than just like the fact that he played football again. I mean,
yeah,
you have to believe that. It's just the fact that he is going to be always in the media's attention because spotlight. I meant because of him and Giselle and the gravity of the situation. So it's just going to seem like that. But yeah, there's definitely more to the situation. And a switcheroo.
Oh,
you can do it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I felt really powerful.
I have the control. But anyways, let's just kind of jump into the games, and eventually we'll get to that Bucks game because that was a disaster for them. But starting off the week just with that Thursday night game, finally like a great Thursday night game to start off the week on like what's going to be tomorrow. But last Thursday
today.
You're right, today. Today is Thursday. Sorry. You're right. Unlike today. But last Thursday it was Dolphins versus Bengals, which I thought was going to be a very high scoring game. But
do you see it?
Yeah, I do see it. But the Bengals D just kind of kept the Dolphins in check. Jalen Waddle didn't really do anything. Tyreek had a pretty solid game. He does what he does. But the story of that game was just Teddy Two Steps and him coming in, which is something I've always been a big fan of him and all the injuries, ACL injuries he's battled through.
Okay.
And just Tua and everything that happened with that. And what do you make of that whole situation with him banging his head, them not handling, like in that game last week, I forget who they were playing against in that. Was that the Ravens? No. Who did they play last week before the Bengals?
They played the Bills. It was Matt Milano.
Yeah. And they beat the Bills.
They did beat the Bills, yeah.
But Tua banged his head and he like toppled over. He couldn't even walk, and somehow he came back into the game. And
yeah,
just the concussion protocol with that. I think, the medical doctor, the team doctor got fired. But they just didn't handle that situation well. So do you think that, unless, Tua probably thought he was good enough to go, but like, do you think that was a no-brainer to sit him going into this Bengals game?
Yeah.
Because of what ended up happening with him and getting another head injury.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty mind blowing that they saw him stumble like that. That should have been the only indicator they needed to take him out. But the concussion protocol. So I don't think it was a team doctor, but it was um, an outside specialist that they bring in. But yeah, like you said, he got fired. This is going to be a huge investigation of why they why he was cleared in the first place, because anyone with eyes could see that he was concussed, and the mechanisms of like how he was falling was not a back injury. Like he might have also had that, I guess, but it was obviously a concussion. Yeah, them putting him out there again 4 days later is crazy. I get that the Bills are a division rival. I get that, you know, if they rolled him out with a concussion, he would not, the concussion protocol is 5 days, so he wouldn't have been able to play this game. I get it, but they put his life at risk. What happened after Tua got hit in the Bengals game, where his fingers were going in a bunch of different directions because the brain chemistry couldn't like function where they wanted the fingers to go. It was obviously brain trauma. It's just such a bad look. Like I'm having honestly like I feel like we've said stuff like this so many times, but like it's such a bad look. I can't believe they did that and put him out there, and he could have died. Like sustaining 2 concussions in 4 days is really dangerous. And the fact that he could have died should not be underscored. And the fact that he flew back with the team is crazy. But after this happened, they're obviously going to need they're reviewing the concussion protocols. But he's not coming back for a while. I would be stunned now that it's become such a public spectacle.
Quick side note: on the top right of your screen, it says Greeny thinks Mike McCarthy is the coach of the year right now. I just thought
that's got to be funny.
I think that's pretty laughable.
He also said that I don't know if this is the same segment, but he said at some point yesterday that he thinks that Cooper Rush is the MVP through 4 weeks.
I mean, that's unbelievable. It's
yeah,
stupid. But on to the next game. We watched this game together, Jay, and you can kind of dive into that one. But I mean, when it comes to the Giants, without Daniel Jones and Saquon, that team is not winning too many football games this year. But alas, they're 3-1, tied for second in the NFC East.
Yeah, it's not. I think their MO is it's not going to be pretty, but they have been coming out with the wins. Honestly, that's been impressive enough for me. Like I didn't expect much out of this year at all, but I think they're very, very well coached. Like you said, I mean, Saquon had another amazing game. He's been so good. We don't have a receiver. Literally don't have a receiver. Kenny Golladay got hurt, and he hasn't even done anything this year. Obviously, we didn't have Sterling Shepard in this one. We don't have Kadarius Toney still. And then most classic thing ever is Daniel Jones after rushing for, I think, over 70 yards again.
Touchdown.
And 2 touchdowns. Because he really ran the bootleg so well because the defense had to shift to Saquon because he's literally our only weapon. So he sustains a high ankle sprain, and Tyrod Taylor comes in, makes 2 good plays, and then the third play, or maybe the fourth play, he's running for a first down, tries to get extra yards, doesn't slide, and just gets rocked, gets a concussion, comes out, and we don't have a third quarterback activated, so Saquon becomes quarterback, and they start running Wildcat. This was a very ugly game. Somehow it seems that Daniel Jones is actually potentially going to play against the Packers, which is very surprising. And Tyrod Taylor is most likely still going to be in concussion protocol. But yeah, this team, like I said, the MO is like it's going to be ugly, but they have a chance to win. The defense looked pretty solid. They had like 6 or 7 sacks. I think that's more a testament to the Bears O-line, though. They're atrocious, and they just hate Justin Fields, man. Do you think he'll ever get like a real chance in the NFL after this?
I was gonna say I forget who posted it, but somebody said that Justin Fields' days are numbered, or like he's proven that he can't be a quarterback in this league, or something like that.
It
And
was
I was
U
like,
Stadium.
yeah, and I was just like, that's unbelievable that you could say that because he's on a terrible team. Like this might be a very, very hot take, but you put Aaron Rodgers on the Bears, they're not going to be any better. Like they're just a bad team. They don't have any offense. Like Justin Fields, obviously, like you've been seeing how low his the passing yards numbers are for him, and like the overs on that, because it's at like I think last week it was like over 145, which is like ridiculous. Like that should be a walk in the park for any quarterback, but he just needs to have more confidence in his arm, and it's hard to have that confidence when your O-line and receivers are so shit. But somehow they're at 500 right now. They're clearly not a playoff team.
No, they're terrible.
But I still think he's their franchise quarterback, and it'd be a different story if they had like a healthy David Montgomery, they had healthy receivers on their team. But we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens with them. But the Giants are gonna have their hands full an early morning with a cup of tea and a couple of crimpets and biscuits across the pond.
That's right. It'll be a tough game.
Yeah,
I suspect they'll get killed, but like they could keep it close, depending. I think.
I mean, the Packers didn't look great last week against the Patriots. They pulled it out in OT, which we'll get to, but they didn't look. They're not scary this year, that's for sure.
That's true.
But we'll have to see. But speaking of London games, the London game last week was kind of just the Justin Jefferson show, and he took over in that game. And the Saints, but the Saints kept it very close. Other than that missed field goal at the end, like they were right in this game for a team that had no starting quarterback, no starting running back, no starting wide receiver. They were in a lot of trouble, and the Big Red Rocket came in and got the job done for the most part. But
don't you love when Red Rockets come in and get the job done?
Oh boy, let's dub that. But the Saints are not looking good. 1-3. I forget who they play this week, but I know it's not an easy matchup for them. I think it's Seattle. I don't know if that's correct.
I think it is Seattle.
That's not like that's like not a no-brainer. Like that's not an easy win for them. Geno Smith has been balling out.
Yeah, he's been playing really well.
So like, what do the Saints need to do to like turn it around this year, other than the obvious of like getting Kamara and Michael Thomas going again? But
yeah, I mean that's kind of the issue is they went all in on this year, and it was a weird year to do that because sure they have. Well, actually, at that point in time, they didn't even have Jarvis Landry, but they wanted to go all in. They made that trade with the Eagles, who hold their pick, which is going to be like top 10 as of right now. It was a weird deal for them, and I don't really. I mean, Olave is a very good player, but they needed a lot more than just a wide receiver. Like that wasn't going to be. And Jameis's back is like broken, so I don't know if he plays this week. Michael Thomas has been held out of practice again. We'll see if he plays. He has like that dude gets so injured. Oh my god! Like,
and it's all in his feet. His feet are just like messed up.
Yeah, he has another toe injury. Like, it's crazy.
And this team did very well be 4-0. Like they barely beat the Falcons week 1.
You mean 0-4?
Yeah, that's not what I said.
You said 4-0.
Oh, well, they should be 0-4.
Yeah, they should be 0-4. The Falcons should have beaten them. This was a crazy game. I mean, I would have really loved to see it go into OT. Unfortunately, Will Lutz gave a little tribute to Cody Parkey and got a double doink. But they're gonna need to step it up. I mean, the Saints defense always looks great, but I mean, their offense, like, we'll see what happens when Alvin Kamara comes back. I guess, like, let's see what happens. But Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Olave, like, are good, but they don't scare you like they used to.
No.
So, and Kamara, I mean, when he did play, was very inefficient this year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'll trade you him.
Listen, I'll trade him for ETN. That was a good pick.
Get out of here.
All right, so let's go into this game. This is the Browns and the Falcons. This was a ugly game. Like it's ugly when Jacoby Brissett scores a rushing touchdown. Like that's when you really can just. I mean, anyway, so Nick Chubb did his thing.
As
always, he's easily the best rusher in the NFL. I don't think it's never been a question.
Yeah.
And what else happened in this game? Marcus Mariota, I think it was something crazy, like 7 times this game.
Yeah, he only threw the ball. He only completed the ball 7 times.
Oh yeah, and Kyle Pitts got 1 catch.
Yeah, I mean
it is a weird season for him.
It's just crazy. Like
not use
their team had 7 catches. No player had more than two catches. Kyle Pitts, who was their 4th overall pick. I know this one's hurting you and your fantasy team, but like he was supposed to be such a stud this year, and he was pretty decent, pretty average last year, and he's just been such a bust this year on a bad team with not such a great quarterback. Really, their only offense was Cordero, and now he's out.
Yep.
Drake London's been battling through injuries. Like for 2-2, they're very lucky because their defense is kind of what's been holding them together. Their defense is very, very solid, but their offense is just nothing's there for them.
Their offense is pathetic right now. It'll be really interesting to see. They're going to get dominated by the Bucks. It's going to be really not pretty, I think.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. And the Browns have been quite surprising that they've even been at 500.
Yeah. I think they're just trying to stay afloat until they can get Deshaun back. Like if they can get to like 5 and 6, they'd be happy.
It's kind of crazy that there's since the season started, and I think we knew this was going to happen. Like if you really thought about it, the Deshaun stuff is so pushed down. Like you haven't heard a peep about it.
Not a word.
Which is like exactly what they wanted. They wanted to get the settlements in and then just be done. Mm-hmm. But when he comes back, that team is going to be good.
Yeah, I mean they have the bye week, so they have 10 games, and if they can get to 500, like they'd be very happy with that. Even 4 and 6, I think they'd be okay with.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
A less impressive team is the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, I mean they've got to be the worst team in football. So like all this hype around the Cowboys, it's like cool. You beat one of the worst teams in football. Congratulations. Cooper Rush is just doing his job.
Yeah. He's a good backup though, I'll say.
Yeah. But Carson Wentz has been atrocious. Other than week 1, he really hasn't done anything. CeeDee Lamb's been great for them.
They got Michael Gallup back.
They got Gallup back. Yep. Zeke isn't really doing a whole lot, so it was a pretty uneventful game, pretty boring game to watch.
Yeah. Brian Robinson, cool story, is going to be activated on the 21-day list or something like that. So he's activated for practice. He has a chance to be in the game. I would really doubt it, though. Coming off, the gunshots and everything before week 1 started after being, I think, named the starter over Antonio Gibson it's pretty miraculous that
he's alive,
let alone being able to play in week 5, potentially, probably week 6. So that's a really cool story. I'm really glad that he's back. Like that's really cool. And healthy.
Yeah.
So that was also, I think we should mention on the Cowboys, their defense is unbelievable.
Like people sleeping on Trayvon Diggs, and he's been shutting down all these corners.
He shut down Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
He's a good corner. Like he just gives up so many yards because he goes for the big plays. But like Micah Parsons is so good, and their team, like their defense is really what's carrying them. I feel like Cooper Rush is he's a quarterback. Like he'll get the job done. He's not going to do anything fancy. He'll just do what he's got to do. Zeke looks spent, and Tony Pollard looks solid, but like fine.
Yeah.
If Dak can come back healthy, probably not this week, but maybe week 6, you know, that team, if they're shaping up like this, where they're like 4-1, maybe 5-1, like that's a interesting team to watch. But also, Dak was terrible in that first game.
Yeah, he did not look good. Might have
Before
definitely stolen a bag from Jerry Jones, but we will have to see.
I think Zeke stole the bag from Jerry Jones.
Yeah, that's
Oh
true.
my god. The Seahawks and the Lions.
This was honestly the game of the week, right
It
here.
was. If someone told you that this was going to be the highest scoring game, would you have believed them?
I'd say no way. You're crazy. You're crazy.
Crazy. Geno Smith versus Jared Goff with no weapons. That's come on.
The crazy thing about this is just the Lions. I don't know if they're number one, but they could very well be the team that's put up the most points this year so far through 4 weeks. I'm pretty sure they are.
I think they are number one.
Yeah, they've put up the most points. This game was crazy too because most people would think going to this game just like logistically, you're like, I'm going to throw in the under because there's no Amon St. Brown. There's no Amon-Ra. There's no DeAndre Swift.
Yep.
The Seahawks don't really have a high-flying offense, but the crazy thing about this is Geno Smith, who people were skeptical about even getting the starting job in the first place, has been outperforming Russell Wilson. He's been in all categories.
He's been really good.
He's been fantastic, and even in this last game, like threw for a couple tutties, threw for over 300 yards, ran for a touchdown. Tyler Lockett's been his favorite receiver so far, but last game he finally got some chemistry going with DK, which fantasy owners love to see. And at 2-2, they're looking pretty decent, and wouldn't be surprised at all if they beat the Saints this week.
I feel like the teams that have been really like surprising are the ones that need the quarterbacks the most in the next draft. Like the Seahawks being 2-2, honestly, the Giants being 3-1, and the Falcons being 2-2. It's just really surprising.
Yeah. And then on the Lions end, just the two biggest stories in this game, other than Jared Goff, were just Hawkinson breaking was it the Lions single season record, or was it a tight end single season record?
I think it's the Lions.
It was the Lions. He had 108 catches for almost 180 yards and 2 tutties. And then Hawkinson finally got going, which, people have been hoping to see from him for a long time. And then the other one that's just kind of crazy to me is Jamal Williams and how well he's been playing. He's kind of just like relying on touchdowns for him, but he's been getting them. He's breaking big holes, and he's looking like an RB1 right now.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, DeAndre Swift will probably be held out this week too. The Lions generally with injuries are pretty conservative. But man, Jamal Williams is a hell of a backup. I mean, we knew that even in Green Bay, and that O-line is unbelievable. And the combination of Jamal Williams being a reliable backup running back and an unbelievable O-line just leads to good things. Like he's playing so well.
Absolutely. The Titans with a big turnaround after going 0-2, they won 2 straight.
Yep.
Finally got Derrick Henry going. But the Colts are just, they're really an atrocity this year. Matt Ryan's been garbage. Michael Pittman's been hurt. Now JT's hurt.
Yep.
The Colts just, they're going.
They're an atrocity. That was the perfect way to say it. The Colts Broncos game tomorrow, you fuck me up. The Broncos game tonight is going to be so bad.
It's just funny. I feel like with Thursday night games, it's either hit or miss. Like it's an unbelievable game or it just stinks. It goes from being it started off with Bills, Rams, and then you got the Steelers and the Browns, which was terrible. You had the Chiefs and the Chargers, which was a great game. You had the Bills. I mean, not the Bills. You had the Dolphins and the Bengals,
which would have been a great game.
Which should have been a great game. and now you have the Broncos and the Colts, which is you think this is a must-win game for the Broncos, especially with JT out. You think that they're going to win this game most likely, but it's just not an appetizing game that I want to sit down and take a bite of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but Javonte being out also is a big L for the Broncos.
Oh yeah.
That's a huge L. They just signed Latavius off the Saints practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that I'm not surprised that the Titans won this. They were actually plus money in this, surprisingly. Jonathan Taylor's been pretty piss poor this year.
Yeah, other than week 1.
Week 1 he had a good week, and then he's been pretty terrible. And I don't really think that's much of his own fault. I think he's supremely talented, but that O-line has been really underperforming. And also Matt Ryan, I think, has like 5 fumbles.
And also you mentioned Latavius Murray. He didn't even play last season, did he? I don't remember if he even played or not, but
he
might
played
have.
for the Ravens briefly with
remember,
and then he got cut.
He was like battling it out with Le'Veon.
He's battling it out with Le'Veon and Tyson Williams,
Justice Hill,
and then he got cut, and then they brought in Deontay Freeman, who played great.
Freeman, yeah. And it's pretty crazy. Like, he scored a touchdown on Sunday for the Saints. Like, for not really playing, he looked pretty solid. And then just like that,
he's gone.
Yeah, just like that, the Colts scoop him up.
No, the Broncos scooped him up.
The Broncos scoop him up. Sorry, because the Broncos scoop him up.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all you really need. Oh, and I guess the only other thing that happened in this game is, what's his name? Treylon Burks got carted off. I don't really know what the exact extent of his injury is. I don't think he's out for the year, but he'll definitely be out a few weeks. So something to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you want to talk about this game? We watched this one too.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the best team in football right now. Only undefeated team. And it started off bad with the unfortunate pick 6, which I don't know if you really watched that closely, but I
watched both.
AJ Brown got a lot of shit for it because he didn't he was kind of just like chasing the guy. I'm blanking on his name. He played Andre Sisco, who got the pick 6. Apparently, when you rewatch it, AJ Brown just kind of like chasing him, but he never like tries to tackle him. He's just kind of like running at him, and then as he gets away, he decides to like try to tackle him. So he got a lot of crap for it. But the pick 6 to start off, and then for some reason at the beginning of the game, the Eagles made Jamal Agnew look like he was a top receiver in this league. He was just getting open left and right. Is that his name, Jamal Agnew?
You're right.
But they're down 14-0, and it was a very raining game. A lot of slipping and sliding. Eagles do what they do best, and they just kind of turned it around. Their defense stepped up. Hassan Reddick finally balled out. And they just kind of they just started taking over. Got into Trevor Lawrence's head, who they're kind of surprising. Like this was a very emotional game because it was Doug Peterson's first game back in Philly.
Yep.
But they're just a very coached team, and the Jags are like looking pretty solid out there after beating the Chargers a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. I would really like to see what they look like when against a team like the Eagles when it's not raining that. Because Trevor also fumbled it 4 times, and that's obviously not going to be an occurrence that happens all the time. And I wonder.
One play on fourth where they went for it on 4th down, and he went. And it just slipped out of his hands.
Yeah, and it just kept happening. Like I think I don't know how many of those plays were like on drives where they were actually in the Eagles' territory, but I don't remember. But that's just points that they just fumbled away like over and over and over again. I just am curious of how it would have turned out if it was like nice weather, but that's what happens. I mean, sometimes there's just literal hurricanes and you got to play through them.
Yeah.
But they look good. I'm interested to see what the Jaguars look like post this game. I mean, they're up against the Texans next week, so that should probably be a cakewalk.
Yeah.
And the Eagles are definitely looking like the best team.
Can you say that one more time?
No, but I want to see them against the Bills. Obviously, I don't think they're playing them this year. Are they?
No, they will in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, okay, for sure. We'll see. So they look really good. I mean, this game is pretty hard to judge, like just based on how rainy it was, but they ran the ball well.
Yeah.
They're actually giving the ball to Miles Sanders, which is a very big surprise.
Yeah, Miles Sanders played very well, which was surprising to see because he
Yeah.
was non-existent for me last year.
Yeah, and usually he stinks.
Yeah.
So got to give Booby the ball. That's the motto.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Jets Steelers. This game honestly had probably the most storylines because Zach Wilson probably just got in the minds of every mom that was watching when he grittied all over that TV catching a touchdown.
That was funny. I mean, I don't get how they're 2-2. They just like
I don't know.
They stole some games for sure, but the Steelers just had to make that decision at some point to get Kenny Pickett in. There's so much controversy over that. Just like it's Trubisky's the starter. There's talk about waiting till after the bye week in week 9 to get him going, but they got what was it, a touchdown, or they got 2 field goals after halftime, and they just got no offense going. Najee Harris just hasn't looked great. Deontay Johnson, who's their wide receiver 1, only got 2 catches in this game.
Yep.
So the offense just wasn't there. So Mike Tomlin finally made a decision to put in the pickster, and no pun intended, he had 3 picks. But he had 2 rushing TDs. So
yeah,
the
ball didn't hit the ground once.
Yeah, the ball only hit the ground once. That's a pretty...
No, it didn't. It didn't hit the ground one time.
Yeah,
he was like 10 for 13 or something like that.
With 3 picks.
That's the way I'd want my debut.
What do you think is going to happen for their next game? Do you think because they're playing the Bills?
Yeah,
they're
going to get rocked.
You think Pickett gets the nod for the start?
He already did.
Oh, he already did. I didn't see that.
And it's the biggest point total. I think the last 40 years.
Hey, I think Pickett will play a little bit better. I think he'll be fine, but I think the Bills offense is just going to be too overpowering.
It's the Bills are plus 14. Like that's really bad. That's the line is plus 14 or minus 4, whatever. It's 2 scores. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, look, like he has a horrible stretch of games coming up. Like they play the Bills, they play the Buccaneers, like they play a bunch of really good teams in a row.
Eagles.
Do they play the Eagles?
End of the month.
Oh, the Eagles, like they play some pretty good teams. Like for a guy who's just starting out, like this is going to be a rocky road.
Yeah,
and I don't mean that delicious ice cream. But, and then for the Jets, like I don't really know how they're 2-2 either. Honestly, like Breece Hall looks really good. Garrett Wilson looks like he's actually like a real player, and Elijah Moore looks solid. But Corey Davis is actually stealing the show.
Yeah,
which is something I never thought I would say out loud, but here we are. I wonder if a team. I saw that an AFC South team was looking at him. Corey Davis, that is. I wonder if it is the Titans.
Bring him back.
Honestly, like they don't have a receiver now, except for Robert Woods, who's really just an underneath guy.
Yeah, why not? But
I don't know. They also lost another O lineman, I'm pretty sure, the Jets. Mm-hmm. The Steelers are garbage. This is why when we had our draft, I was so off of Najee Harris. The exact reason.
Yeah, I agree. On the Bills game, really a tale of 2 halves.
Yes,
the Bills, the Ravens were up 20-3. Josh Allen just couldn't get anything going, and then he just flips the switch, and he just shows why he's arguably the MVP frontrunner. I know people think it's Lamar or Jalen Hurts. It's going to be one of those 3 guys, but Josh Allen's definitely making a name for himself just with how he can get that ball going through the air and with his legs as well.
Yeah, he's a leading rusher for the team so far in 3 of the 4 games.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, the reason they lost is like Lamar didn't really get going. He only threw for 144 yards, had a couple picks, and when he isn't connecting with Mark Andrews, Dobbins finally played well. He had 2 touchdowns, but which is good to see for Ravens fans because when he's not getting going with Mark Andrews, they need to find other weapons. So good to see Dobbins getting back out there after missing the beginning of his career.
What'd you think of the 4th down decision? Where
same thing as last year, like all the 4th down decisions they made, like the 2-point conversion decisions they made. I just think they're stupid. Like you gotta, I know against a team like the Bills, I would have. I know against a team like the Bills, you know they're gonna march down the field and you don't want to take any chances, but it looks like it would have paid off and it would have forced OT and they would have at least had a chance to try to win. But I just think going for 4th and goal when it's a tie game is just not a good call. Like you take the points always and live. And if they march down the field and score a touchdown, I'd be able to live with that than live with going for it on 4th, coming up with no points, and then they kick a field goal.
I think it's so hard to judge situations like that because, like, I feel like your players want you to go for it and go for the win. But
I guess.
I don't know. Whatever.
You don't.
The Ravens look pretty solid, though. Outside, I mean, this was a tough game for them. And also the weather here was also garbage. But they're honestly playing very well.
Yeah, both 2 playoff teams right there, most likely.
Their defense has gotten passed on more than any other team so far.
Yeah, and you never know. They did make the playoffs last year, so who knows what will happen.
You see Marcus Peters getting into it with John Harbaugh.
Yeah, I mean, their defense was crap in the second half.
Yeah, which is shocking. It's just like they're very, very. I guess like they've always been a very good, historically good defense. Always.
That's so disappointing when you can't even get any points up in a half. Like
yeah, I didn't even notice that. All right, well, moving on. We had Eki doing some things,
nice in houses.
Yeah, he scored 3 tutties. It was nice to see him playing well again because he's been really, really not great this year.
Yeah, without Keenan Allen.
No Keenan Allen again.
Yeah, they've had to find other guys to step up. Mike Williams is doing his job. He's had Justin Herbert after the rib injuries looked pretty healthy.
He looks good. This game he looked way healthier.
Yeah.
Gerald Everett looked good. Who else? Oh, Josh Palmer didn't really play well. And the Texans look atrocious.
Yeah, I mean they look bad.
Dameon Pierce looks good.
Dameon Pierce, yeah, that was a great call. Coming in, not a whole lot. Like I didn't know a whole lot about him. Like I know he was a stud at Florida, but like didn't think he'd play as well as he's been playing.
There's 2 of us.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks had a pretty good game finally, but other than them 2,
Davis Mills is atrocious.
Yeah, he's garbage. They need, in my opinion, they need a tank and try to go for Bryce Young.
They must have the worst record. Are there any other 0-3 teams?
No. Well, they have a tie.
So sorry, 0-4 teams. I don't think there are.
No 0-4 teams.
Yeah, so there it is. I don't really know if there's much more to say about this game. It's just
let's pass. Let's go on to the next one. What do you say?
This is honestly one of the worst games of the week. Cardinals Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't usually agree. I don't usually agree with Stephen A. Smith too much, but Baker Mayfield and his take on Baker just being bad is accurate.
Right.
Like he just doesn't look good out there. They're trying to get Sammy D back, but I don't know how much better he's going to be. But McCaffrey had a good game, but they just need to get him going more. They need to find a way to get him going. They need to utilize DJ more. The Panthers just aren't a good team. I don't think Matt Rule is going to make it to the end of the season.
I don't think so either. They've been unbelievably bad. I don't know. There's not really. Honestly, the Cardinals have been terrible too. They look so garbage.
Yeah, they're not a scary team at all. And you could say they don't have Hopkins out there, but
how that wouldn't make that much of a difference.
No, Kyler just hasn't looked good.
He looks so bad. The whole team has. James Conner's been garbage, which I could have fucking told you that was gonna happen.
Like Marquise Brown and Ertz have been doing their job, but like James Conner, like I think I was telling you this. Like there were certain running backs that I just think were taken way too high in this draft, like James Conner, Leonard Fournette. I'm sure there's others, but like I just thought that
Najee Harris.
For them to be your RB1, I just didn't think they were good picks. And just all like the drama in the offseason with Kyler and all that, like it just does. I don't know. He just doesn't seem like he is fully in it. And like I said, not having DeAndre Hopkins definitely hurts them, but
Totally.
Don't know if it would make much of a difference either with the way they're playing.
I don't know. I mean, he just looks it's like he looks checked out after getting the contract.
Yeah.
Playing too much Call of Duty.
I guess so.
I don't know. I don't even want to talk about them. They're both atrocious teams. Honestly, this was a terrible game too. Well, it turned out to be exciting, sort of, but like it shouldn't have been.
Just Rodgers continuously getting pissed at his team. Like no receivers out there really.
Yeah.
He's just relying on Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon to just be monsters.
And Romeo. Oh, Romeo.
But I thought they were going to win this game by more than 3 points just because Brian Hoyer was the quarterback, and the Patriots arguably have, if not the Texans, the Patriots arguably have the worst offense in the league. So, just not an exciting game at all, but went to OT, and it's funny just how the Packers won the coin toss, got nothing going, give the ball to New England to win it. They get nothing going, 2 punts in overtime, and then the Packers drive down the field, and Mason Crosby just Crosby's it in. I didn't like that one either.
That was terrible. Kentucky tucks it in. Nothing beats that one.
Nah.
This game was atrocious. Bailey Zappi came in. He was fine.
Yeah.
The Packers defense honestly should have done more, I thought. Romeo Doubs looks pretty good. Alan Lazard played well.
Thank you.
But you're welcome. But and Christian Watson had a nice touchdown. But it kind of seems like he's going to be forced into like a Marquez Valdez-Scantling role.
Yeah, and you know what? Interesting. Like it's going to be interesting. I'll use this as a transition into the next game. The Packers would look like a different team without Devontae Adams. But Devontae Adams really hasn't been balling out with the Raiders, would you say? Like in week 1, he looked pretty good, but he just hasn't been looking like he looked in Green Bay. Maybe that's Derek Carr. Maybe it's because he's on a new team, but the Raiders are looking pretty bad too.
Yeah, I wonder if it's – I don't think he just lost the ability to separate. I wonder if it's just Derek Carr not looking at him or the defense flocking over to him. Like, for example, like when we talked about like the game with the Vikings and the Lions and Justin Jefferson did nothing because they triple teamed him.
Yeah.
Like the Raiders haven't really been able to get anything going besides the ground game. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if that's kind of a reason. But he did have 3 touchdowns in the first 3 games.
He did. And he had 9 catches for 100 yards, which is like a good,
that's
solid
pretty day for him. But I know what you mean. Like he used to dominate. If he was still on the Packers this year for fantasy, he probably would have been a top 4 pick.
Yeah, no doubt.
But
I mean, Derek Carr just isn't a good quarterback in my opinion either. Hasn't been getting Darren Waller involved. Like they had no run game until this past week. Like Josh Jacobs balled out. We'll have to see if he can replicate that. But this was a must-win game for the Raiders. If they were 0-4, like the whole league would have been shocked.
Yeah, and Josh McDaniels is not looking like the answer.
Yeah,
but I feel like it's not all on him. I feel like their own line is just that bad. Like
they're in trouble. I mean, they always give the Chiefs like a tough time every year, but this upcoming Monday Night Football, they're probably going to get spanked.
Most likely. And the Chiefs also the box score doesn't really tell a full story. Before Tom and Giselle filed for divorce lawyer, Tom got his ass whooped. Absolutely dominated. The Chiefs got so hot, and they were killing them. This is not a correct box score of
Nah, they had
telling
like
the full story.
some garbage time points.
Yeah, like the Chiefs were so far ahead. Mahomes is a magician. He's so good. He's so good at football, and he's making it work without all of the Tyreek Hill.
He just makes everyone around him better. Like
He does, yeah.
people were worried about Kelsey and him being like having more attention drawn to him, but he still has just been balling out every game. Best tight end in the league right now, probably.
Yes.
He's making Clyde Edwards-Helaire better. He's played well in every game so far this year, which hasn't been the case for him in the past couple of years. I think without Tyreek Hill, they've had to lean on the run game a little bit more, but that's basically what happened in this game. The Bucs were defending the pass, so Andy Reid, being the great coach that he is, read that, and they're like, we're just going to hand the ball off, and it worked to perfection for them.
I don't think a team has actually been able to run on the Buccaneers like the Chiefs did. It was something like 2018. Like that's the most rushing yards that have been against the Bucs.
Yeah, and I
mean, Vita Vea is a fucking animal. Like, and he's in the middle. He just swallows up the holes.
And what did you make of what did you make of the Bucs offense? Because like I just don't think they really got anything going. Like Brady played well, but not well enough to, top 41 points by the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They had no running game whatsoever. Leonard rushed for -3 yards.
Yeah.
It was really just Mike Evans and a little bit of Chris Godwin and Fournette on the passing game. But other than that Mike Evans connection, the Bucs offense is not looking scary like they have been in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think I just feel like they were outmatched, to be honest. Like Mike Evans still scored 2 touchdowns, and I think he may have had over 100 yards also. He played really well for his first game back from injury. Godwin also had his first game back from injury. Actually had like the second highest route participation of any player this past week. He had 10 targets. So I wonder if it'll change. Having no O-line is like their O-line is definitely not what it was, which is really hurting them. And Leonard Fournette's not been that great, to your point.
He promised us tutties and he only gave us one.
I know the fantasy community just let down again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a bailout touchdown. Like it was, he got lucky on that one. I feel like
I actually just traded for him in one of my leagues, but it's because I needed a running back. But
really, what did you trade?
I traded Herbert and because I already have Jalen Hurts, so I didn't need Herbert. And my running backs are Rashad Penny and Kamara, so I needed another running back. So I traded Justin Herbert, and I think I gave him like a third string receiver or something, just a garbage guy.
Okay, so you win.
Probably. Yeah, but we'll have to see. But yeah, just not a good game for the Bucs. And then the Monday night game,
that was just the worst game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, after putting up 10 points or 11 points, whatever it was, last week, the 49ers had a nice bounce back game. I mean, Deebo Samuel is just unbelievable.
Yeah. That run of his was unreal.
Yeah, George Kittle's been non-existent, so Deebo's really been their whole offense. And not that Jimmy G is like, looking spectacular at all. He's just kind of, doing what he needs to do to get the job done. But the Rams, I mean, man, they have not looked good this year.
2-2. It seems like it should be way worse than that. They have played so poorly.
They really have. They've had no running game. Another running back to add to the list that I was talking about, Cam Akers.
Yep.
Awful early round pick.
Yep. Also stinks.
And their whole offense is just Cooper Kupp. Like the pick 6 that Stafford had, Sean McVay like went right over to him. He's like, "What are you doing? Like you obviously didn't have the right play." But other than Cooper Kupp, they just have no offense. Like Allen Robinson has been a waste of space.
They just force feed him.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing that I was thinking about with him is like, and I hope this doesn't happen because he's like a beast, but you keep feeding him, he could get hurt eventually.
Yeah. I mean, he
Which,
tore his ACL only like 3 years ago.
Self-explanatory because it's football. Like anybody's putting themselves out there to get hurt, but even more so when you're just constantly feeding him because he's really their only offense. Did you see the bettor who had that big bet he lost because of the Rams?
No.
He
Oh
bet,
yes, I did.
yeah, he bet 10.
Oh.
He had a parlay $10 to win $72,000.
Yes,
I think it
yes,
was.
yes. And he was gonna, and he tweeted that he let it ride.
He should have cashed out at 23K. I would have. I would have been just too scared. And like I had a feeling like the 49ers, maybe it's because that they were at home, they were 1.5 point favorites. And after their last like loss, I was like, this line is just looking a little bit fishy to me. And I don't trust the Rams enough to win on the road in this game. So I would have absolutely cashed out. But he wanted to ride it out. I kind of don't blame him in a way, and came up.
I was surprised. I would have thought that the Rams would have played better, truthfully, but they just look really bad. Like that's it. Like they just look not good, and it looks like a Super Bowl hangover. It's kind of surprising to see both the Bengals and the Rams struggling.
Yeah,
like they have. Obviously, the Bengals have gotten it together a little bit, but it's just been bad.
Yeah, still plenty of season ahead to turn it around, but they're definitely not looking too scary. Before we put a bow tie on this epi, let's just quickly go through. I'll just call out each game, and you tell me. You'll tell me who you think will win. Starting with tonight, we got Colts Broncos.
Yep.
I think this is a must win for the Broncos. I think they win at home. Not by a big margin, but I think they'll get the job done even without Javonte. And I don't think Melvin Gordon will do much, but I think they'll just feed Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy.
I think it's going to be an ugly game. All around. I think the Broncos will win it, but like I'm curious to see what the Colts offense will look like with no JT.
Yeah.
Lots of Nyheim Hines, I would think. Maybe some Phillip Lindsay.
So you got Pittman and Cortland tonight.
Yep.
It's a big start to the week for you.
Yeah, I don't like that, honestly. And most of my opponents, which is stupid Alex Russo, his almost like it's like 3 parts of his team are all going Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate stuff like that where I just have to wait.
Yeah.
Then
we got flying over to London. We got your Giants taking on the Packers. I think the Packers should take them down pretty easily.
I think the Giants are going to win.
All right, hot take. We got Patriots Lions. I think the Lions will win on the road.
Patriots Lions.
Yep.
I think the Lions should win that game, probably.
Okay. We got Chargers at Browns. I think the Chargers will win that one.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to be close.
We got Texans at Jags. I think that could really go either way, but just with how the Jags have been playing and, being home, I think they should win that one.
I don't like that I keep agreeing with you, but yeah, Jaguars.
I'm just smart.
Falcons what school do you go to, huh?
Falcons at Bucks. I mean,
this could go either way, really.
It really could go either way, just with how bad the Bucks looked. But Brady's got some fire in his eyes. They need a big bounce back win at home. Like this should be an easy win for them.
I wonder. I mean, I agree with you. I think Brady will win, but I do wonder. So he's slightly injured, right? He has a shoulder injury and he has a finger injury. It's probably his ring finger. No, that's bad. Anyway, I wonder if like that. No, but like that situation with Giselle, like I wonder if that weighs on him. Like, bless you.
Thank you.
I wonder if that weighs on him, and it's hard to play this game.
I mean, it absolutely is, but you have a job to do at the end of the day, and you kind of just try to block out all the noise. Football is his safe haven, so we'll have to see, or maybe it'll go the other way, and he'll start playing poorly, and he'll take his anger out on his team, and maybe he'll walk out like AB did.
Or I was thinking another Microsoft Surface would face him.
Yeah, another tablet thrown.
It's two for two so far against the Saints.
Steelers at Bills. I think the Bills will beat them easily.
That
Just
will
not
not
just
be
not
close.
just because of the quarterback situation with the Steelers, but the Bills are just playing too well right now. After losing to them in that opener last year, I just think they're gonna have no mercy in this game. I think they could very easily cover that 14-point spread.
Yeah, and we'll see if Minka Fitzpatrick plays. He's been
Did
hurt
you
too.
just yawn? There's no
Uh-huh.
yawning on this podcast. Dolphins at Jets. I think the Teddy Two Steps is going to step in and dominate. I think Tyreek Hill is going to have a big game, a big statement win over the Jets to be like, you saw how he was like, I didn't come to the Jets because of taxes.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's going to, it's in New York, so he's just going to show them like, this is what you could have had, but F you.
You ready for this? I
I'm
think
ready.
the Jets are gonna win.
Really?
I think the Jets will beat them.
I think the Jets are garbage.
If Xavier Howard is hurt, I think they're gonna have a field day.
It's possible, but I'm gonna go Fins in this
Hot take.
one. Fins up, baby.
Jets
Bears. Bears at Vikings. The Vikings should dominate the Bears easily.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Jefferson should have another day and a half.
Yeah. I like the way that they're using him, like throwing him in the backfield. Kevin O'Connell is a really creative coach, which, with some of the new coaches, like I think Mike McDaniel's done a great job too.
Dalvin's had a very quiet year.
He has had a quiet year. And he also dropped, and probably it was like the second or third game. Obviously now I'm watching the Vikings games. In the second or third game, Dalvin dropped, I think, 3 different times for a catch. So, I don't know. Alexander Madison's also a very good player.
He is.
But you're right. He hasn't gotten in the end zone either, I don't think.
No, he hasn't. I don't think so. Might have, maybe once. I don't remember. But Titans at Commanders. Honestly, like the Titans will probably win that game, but I don't think it'll be by much unless Derrick Henry just has a field day and runs all over them. Titans should probably win that one.
They have a pretty solid defensive front, the Commanders.
Yeah.
I don't want to agree with you on everything, so I'll say Wentz is it up, which means he fumbles and the Titans win.
So you agree with me?
Yeah.
Seahawks at Saints. I don't even know. Maybe. I think if Kamara plays, the Saints will win.
I'm going to say the Seahawks. I'm going to go underdog. I think Geno Smith is going to have I think Geno Smith will have an underrated day because of how good the Saints defense is.
Okay. We'll have to see.
But Marshawn on DK will be fun to watch.
Yeah. 49ers at Panthers.
Don't care.
I mean, the Panthers need to win this game, but with the way the 49ers played last week, they should beat them.
I will not watch an ounce of that game. I don't care. Like that's going to be atrocious.
Where's the loyalty?
I don't give a shit about Baker. 49ers win easy.
Yep. Eagles Cardinals. I think that'll be a fun game to watch.
You think? I think they're going to get blown out.
I think Kyler will play well, but I think we'll win in the end.
Is that the link?
No, it's in Arizona, 4 o'clock game.
Okay.
I think it'll be a fun game to watch. Just Hurts versus Kyler.
2 running backs.
I think with even though Darius Slay has been playing really well, I just have a feeling Hollywood Brown's going to eat. But
good.
And it's our first game against Ertz, which will be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I was just thinking that Ertz is he's played well this year too. I mean, he really has 0 after catch ability like he used to, but he has sure hands, so he's catching all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Eagles probably dominate most likely.
Can you say that one more time?
No.
On to the next one, Cowboys at Rams. I think the Rams need a big bounce back win here and just need to shut up Cooper Rush so people stop thinking he's a good quarterback. I think Rams will win in this one.
I think the Cowboys will keep winning.
All right.
Based on how bad the Rams did.
Okay. And then we got Sunday Night Football, which will be a treat. Bengals at Ravens. I think this will be a shootout, but I think the Ravens will win.
Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to add. Sorry about the Cowboys. The Cowboys defense will eat against Matt Stafford. like the O-line is not helping him at all.
I just don't
Yeah.
think Trayvon Diggs stands a chance against Cooper Kupp.
I don't even know if he'll be on him.
And they just
He's
need
an
to,
outside
and
corner.
even if they put him on like Allen Robinson, they just need to get him going. So I think it's just gonna be a big offensive game for the Rams.
Potentially.
Sorry, what was the next one? The Ravens and who?
Sunday Night Football, Bengals at Ravens.
Oh, and where is it? Is it at Baltimore?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a good game.
That's what I'm saying. I think it'll be a high-scoring game, but I think the Ravens are going to have the edge in this one. Make up your mind.
I am gonna say the Ravens also, but I think it'll be really close.
Okay.
Because I think the Bengals can throw all over the Ravens, but I don't know how you beat Lamar Jackson. He's such a cheat code, and they have no answer for like Mark Andrews either.
Yeah.
So Eli Apple is garbage and should never be on a football team. So.
And then to wrap it up, Monday night we got Raiders at Chiefs. I think it'll be a pretty close game through maybe 2 or 3 quarters, and then the Chiefs will just kind of pull away.
You know what? The kind of like maybe I'm wrong on this, but I feel like in the past the Raiders have really had the Chiefs number. Like
That's what, yeah, I was saying that earlier. Like they've kept it very close. Max Crosby was always a beast in those games. Derek Carr played pretty well. They beat him last year.
they did, yeah, I thought so. And they beat them in way back when they played in Oakland. The Oakland Raiders killed them, and that was the year that Mahomes had his coming out party.
Mm-hmm.
I still think the Chiefs should win. Like all of me wants to say the Raiders, but the Chiefs should beat them.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially how they played this past week.
Yeah.
They just looked really strong. And yeah, that will wrap up. That'll wrap up week 5. I also
No.
just to go back on what I said last, I think this is last year's schedule. The Raiders didn't beat the Chiefs once, but they've always kept it pretty close.
Talking about. Okay.
Yeah. But that'll do it for this epi of JumpStart Sports. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Don't do what Jason just did ever. And
Ready again?
please, throw it out there. JumpStart Sports.